why would I want to know him anymore? And I have found this during this process, working with this man, and the energy that has evolved. Lovingly, it's not something that we worked on, but the energy that has evolved between us. There are demons, and they're on the surface. It's not deep, it's there, between us both. And yet, there is a love there that is undeniable for me, and I think for him too. After all that we have been through, he still knows where he can come and be safe. Where there are detectives figuring out the crime scene, and putting all the pieces together, her attention is on the body. She is the detective for the body. She is the scientist for the body. And she is brought in because now because there are so many murders, they need someone to cross T's and dot I's so that this person doesn't get away. They find this person. And because of my many years of experience, I guess I'm trusted, and I come in and I try to figure out what's going on. Flo brings in the science to the investigation, the ability to break it down scientifically beyond a reasonable doubt, based on what I see, based on DNA, based on dissecting every single part. I think the policemen, the detectives, have a hunch, and they connect the dots of physical evidence. And I think what I do with the body, I connect the dots. I'm working on the blood. I'm working on the cells. I'm working on fingerprints on the body. I'm able to bring it down scientifically so that there is little doubt of whether this is true or not. So when we take it to court, or when we find the person, it is without a doubt this person. Wanting to understand the underbelly of all of this, I had the opportunity to work with a former director of the forensics lab in Los Angeles. And one of the questions I asked her, as she was taking me around to the different labs, and it was the first time that I, Michael, had ever been that close to what the strongest impression I had when I was going through this forensic lab was, I am up close and personal to the things that I understand destroy people's lives. And I'm looking at all of these scientists. They do this day in, day out. They do this for hours. They're testing these rocks that are meth, and they're testing cocaine, and they're doing DNA samples of this and toxicology things for somebody who was accused of drunk driving and was in a crash and killed somebody. They have to prove whether this person, and it is just the scariest thing to be so close to it. One of the things I asked her was, how do you do this and then go home? How do you do that? And she was thankfully very honest in saying, you don't. You don't leave your work at work. There's no way that you can leave your work at work. John is, to say he's very accommodating is really putting it mildly, because he just allows us to find it. That's been my experience with him. Just go. Show me who this person is. And then it's beautiful. He wrote this. And for me, that is the beginning of our form of art, is the word. Without that, we don't have anything. And the man has written the whole thing out. And then I'm coming to him and I'm saying, there's this here or there's that there. And he said, I didn't even think about that. I never thought about it that way. And you're absolutely right. It's there, do that. Several times he has done that. And it's so, and then, because he's the writer of this thing, and he puts a twist on it that I didn't see. It's really a beautiful collaboration. There is a great deal of freedom. There is a great deal of trust. And the freedom and the trust has created a beautiful room, stage for honesty and vulnerability. I love films that surprise you in forcing you to see aspects of yourself. That's the beauty of what we do, right? We take people places they may not be willing to go in their own private lives, but they see it on screen and it smacks them in the face, and it opens up an aspect of themselves that they may not have wanted to pay attention to. And as painful as that may be in your own personal journey, there is a willing suspension of disbelief that you bring to the theater. There's a willing suspension of, it takes the pain away to see it from someone else, and yet you connect yourself to it. This film has a lot of that because I think it is an incredibly universal experience. Not that everybody is corrupted, but everybody has had that point where they had to decide whether they were going left or right, whether it was conscious or not, and where that right turn took them, where that left turn took them. Did it come with any regret? It's tragic, and it's also real. And that is what I go to the films for. That's what I go to movies for. Every actor's dream is to work with fellow actors that are considered at the top of their game, that are considered and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when I say that I think universally we understand that to be one of them to be Denzel Washington. It is an honor to work with this man. I am surrounded by, this experience has been incredibly artistically fulfilling. He has been so incredibly generous. And I don't say that lightly. He's Denzel Washington. And you think that Denzel Washington is going to walk into the room with, whatever you perceive that energy to be. And I haven't experienced it. what I've experienced is tremendous generosity, tremendous, oh, an incredibly disarming man. And a fellow actor who is looking for the opportunity to create the best art with his colleague. That's it. And I am so grateful for that. Rami is an incredibly charismatic man with those gorgeous, deep, storytelling eyes of his. He has a beautiful energy, and I don't know him well at all, as I don't know Denzel Washington well at all, but the environment that, I don't know whether it is John created it. I mean, it comes from, but whether the energy that I am experiencing during this journey, that is these however many days we've been shooting this film, has just been a lot of love, has been a lot of giving and sharing, and it's been really lovely.